In a dark world, remember to be the light. Welcome to Black Swan Revelations. Here is your host, the Black Swan himself, Shane.
Coffee's good this morning. Coffee's real good. I just wanted to say a special thanks to my sisters, Amy and Crystal, for producing this mug for me. Thank you very much. For Amy for shipping it out to me. Man, for some reason, the coffee is amazing today. So we're going to be talking about you know who, our shooter that tried to assassinate Donald Trump on Saturday. Are you glad he's dead is the question. This is the question of the day. Are you glad he's dead? There are some people that will say, thank God this guy got taken out right away. And there are some people that will say, I kind of wish it was Trump. I kind of wish he got shot in the head. So we're going to be talking about that in this video. If you are interested in this type of content where we talk about assassinations and what's going on right now in the media, then you're welcome to stick around. If this is a little bit too much for you, you can go watch Friends maybe on TV or something like that if you want. But here we discuss the topics that perhaps you couldn't talk, whether that's on a service on a Sunday morning, because sometimes there's just not enough time to elaborate. But sometimes when you talk about subjects like this in church, people get up and leave because they don't want you to talk about politics or anything like that. So this is why we have YouTube. It's where Christians can get together and we can ask questions that maybe you couldn't normally talk about. And we're going to talk about this. And of course, I'm going to put my own spin on things. And I believe this is a Black Swan event. I've shared some of my thoughts before, and I'll continue to share them as to why I believe this is a Black Swan event and why it's different than just someone saying, I think today you're going to get a flat tire. You're going to get a flat tire. It's inevitable that people are going to get a flat tire. That's not a Black Swan event by any means. And there's people that have said things like, why don't they take out Donald Trump? Why don't they just get rid of him? All this kind of stuff. Paint a target. These are all threats. They're not Black Swan events when they say that. If someone says this 100 times, I think he could be taken out, all this kind of stuff, that doesn't classify it as a Black Swan event. So just so we're clear, because again, I've probably mentioned it that I'm actually surprised that there isn't more security at some of these events. Also understanding that Donald Trump didn't want as much security at some events. Not talking about this last event, but I've heard that before, where he's like, let's open this up, let's get more people, all this kind of stuff. That's been the conversation. So, but the question for the day is, are you glad he's dead? And you can post your comments here. Do you think the shooter deserved death? Or do you think maybe he could have been forgiven and, because he missed and maybe we should have just arrested him and that kind of stuff? Is that what your thoughts are? Do you wish it happened to the president? Do you wish it happened to Joe Biden or anyone else, our prime minister, all this? Maybe don't answer that question, because it's a weird thing to call for someone's death. It's a weird thing. I remember, I think there was a famous line from Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, where he says something like, it's a weird thing taking a man's life. You're basically taking everything that he is, everything that he has, everything that he's going to be. You take that away from him. Meaning, you better think of the consequences when you take someone's life. So this is This is normal stuff. This is how we approach every human being on earth, that you think twice about taking someone's life. This is why we have laws and rules and regulations and cops. And Paul talks about this in Romans 13, where he talks about authorities, dignities, like basically pay respect to them because they don't carry the sword for nothing. Meaning they're put there for transgressors, for people that break the laws of the land. So they're not going to take kindly to somebody that goes and murders its citizens. That's their job, is to take them out at the end of the day. If they murder someone or they're in the act of murdering someone, you take them out. And in this case, Donald Trump's life was at stake. The snipers fired the shot after the lone shooter shot at Donald Trump. They took him out. 100% justified. Am I glad he's dead? I just think I'm glad justice was served. I think that's a better way to say it, because imagine if the shooter got away. Imagine if he shot more people and the panic would come out because of this. And imagine the shooter going missing for days and the whole country would literally shut down. I promise you, there would not be a convention today if the shooter escaped. So these are important things to think about. Am I glad justice was served? 100%. Did he deserve what he got? 100%. I have no problem saying that. But as Christians, is it our job to go after people in vengeance and say, hey, you, whoever it is, you shot my president or whatever? No, that's up to the authorities, the dignitaries, the people that we voted into power for them to take care of that. Like, let the police be the police. Let them do their job. Let the CIA, let the FBI do its job. That's their mission. So if you think that the snipers should have shot first, you're in a dangerous world, my friend. You're in an absolute dangerous world, because now you're telling people that they have the right, because they have a badge, to shoot people first. That's not how it works. That's not how the laws of our land works. We're not even 100% sure that they knew that he had a rifle at that time. There's rumors going on all over the place that 30 minutes before the shooting, there was an officer or officers that knew of this person, that they had pictures, and they weren't sure if this guy had binoculars or a range scope. So that's interesting in itself. That's not grounds for investigating or for shooting someone if somebody has binoculars. Because at first glance, you could almost say that somebody could be up on a roof to try and get a sneak peek with some binoculars to have a look at Trump from a distance. You could say that there are some people that would do that kind of thing. What is weird to me is the footage that is taken around the shooter. It's weird right now. Like, I've yet to see footage where he's actually has the rifle beside him or anywhere in possession. I've yet to see it. Now, could it surface even while I'm speaking today, tomorrow, next day? Yeah, very possible. But there's one footage that I showed yesterday that keeps cropping up, and it's got lines across the middle of the screen. It almost looks like it had original text on it, like shooter spotted or something like that. And then other companies or other people can take that video and then blur it, and then put some other text over it saying the authorities had 30 minutes or whatever. They keep changing the text over this footage. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Take the text off completely. You don't need to put anything on there, but it's almost like it's baked into the screen, so you can't get a clear sighting of what's going on. And the camera guy, whoever this was, is He's silly. He's mental. Because the camera goes down like this, and he's saying the shooter's on the roof. And he goes like this, and then down, and then over here, and all this stuff. And I'm like, if you don't want to give us conspiracy theorists food, then just hold the camera like this. I feel like taking a lesson or teaching someone a lesson on how to hold the camera. Go like this. If you're filming something like the Sasquatch, like the Big Feet, Legend of the Big Feet, if you're taking a picture, go like this. And this is kind of cool. Look at this. I can look around without moving my camera. I could look up. I could look down. Notice how my camera doesn't move. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Or how about this if you need a wide shot? How about this? How about looking at first to see what you're filming? And then you can actually move your head around. You can do this kind of stuff. You can look around. You can see what's going on. Notice the camera isn't shaky like this. Oh, look, a meteorite just hit the earth. Wow, isn't that amazing? Fantastic. Oh, look, somebody's being assassinated. Wow. Look at, they're right there on the roof. That's amazing. Wow, look at that. Did you see that, Martha? Like, who are these people that are filming? Like, seriously. You catch everything else on camera, but the one thing that is of monumental history equal to JFK, you can't hold the camera still for 1 second? That makes me suspicious, because when I see the footage of the guy crawling, it looks like a video game. I used to play Battlefield 1942 a lot. And if you don't believe what I'm about to say, go play the video game 1942. Specifically, watch characters crawl on a rooftop. Just watch them. And if you're a sniper, you can actually take these guys out, but it's not easy because sometimes they go behind a building. Sometimes you can shoot through the building. But if you get a good bead, you can actually see them crawling, and they're actually floating above the rooftop. They're floating a little bit, and it's animated because obviously back then they weren't very good at the animations of making them look like they can crawl like video games today. So what they would do is they would take that character, place it on a two-dimensional surface, and make, using nodes and everything, they would make them go across. But the timing and everything of their hands and feet crawling, it looks weird because it's not real. That's what this guy looks like, this shooter looks like from this camera angle, that it looks like he's crawling and then he goes flat. And then you'll see a few seconds later that he's doing the same thing and then he goes flat. And I'm like, that looks animated to me. We need a better angle, is all I'm saying. We need a better angle. It looks ridiculously animated right now. And there's no gun. There's no gun that we see. Even when you see shots, they always blur everything in that area. I would like to see the gun near him. Like, there's no gun. All you see is officers around him, and they have guns. But if it's true that this guy had a rangefinder or binoculars because he was just a young kid wanting to see what was going on, maybe he didn't want to be associated with watching it. Don't know. Kids are kids. But maybe it was planted on him. Don't know. We hear people saying he's on a roof. Somebody's on the roof. So what? That's not a crime to be on a roof, especially outside of the secure area. I'm sorry, but it's not a crime to be on a roof. It's not a crime to have binoculars and watch the event. It's not even a crime to have a rangefinder. It's not even a crime to have a gun. In America, that might surprise people. It's not illegal to have a gun. Sorry, it's not. I'm not trying to stick up for the shooter. I'm just saying show us some more evidence. Because what they're doing now is they're trying to build a gap and say it was the CIA's fault or it was the sniper's fault. It's an inside job and all this kind of stuff. I get it. I love conspiracies as the best of them. I really do. I like them all. I like it. I like me a nice cup of coffee with some conspiracy videos. I do, honestly. But don't take me for a fool as well. Show me the evidence. Right now, I'm saying the snipers didn't have as much time as you want to believe that they did. They had 2 seconds approximately to decide whether or not they're going to take a person's life, and I think they did their job effectively. They saw shots fired, they took them out. Now you might argue and go, well, how come they took them out so fast then? Like, do we actually understand or do we actually hear what we're saying? We want the snipers to do their job because we're mad at them for having evidence for 30 minutes that somebody's walking around suspicious. That's not enough reason to draw all the forces around, because just look around at America. There's a lot of suspicious citizens walking around. I'm sorry, but there is. In Canada too. We have crazy looking people. You can't judge people just by wearing camouflage or wearing their hat backwards, wearing a MAGA hat, wearing a Joe Biden hat. You can't judge them. You can't say, oh, this person's a criminal because he has a MAGA hat turned backwards, or this person's a criminal because he's on a roof. You can't say that. You can't say someone's suspicious just by walking around. Can't do that. Otherwise, we're going to have carnage in America and in Canada. You're asking for authorities to shoot first and ask questions later, and that's not how it works. So I get upset at people that say they should have shot him right away. It's like, why? What evidence do you have? Well, they saw him. How long did they see him for? Don't know, because he was on a roof as well. So what you have to do is you have to go inside the sniper's head. And I don't think many of us can do that. You have to assess exactly what he saw. And I presented an argument that it is possible that on one side of the roof, let's just say on this side here, that you can't be seen. You can't be seen. So you can't be seen here, especially at an angle from somebody in this direction. You can't. So if you pop your head up, you could be seen, but then you pop your head down. You pop your head up with a gun, you pop your head down, again, fire, bam, 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 and you're dead. That's what happens in video games. Sometimes people would stick their rifle around the corner, and you're like, you got your bead on their rifle, and you lift it up a bit because you know where their head is going to be, and then they come out to take a peek, they look, and then they go back, and you know they're going to peek again. This time, as soon as their head pops up, I got them. They peek, boom, got them. You can't do that on the first time because you don't know where they are. So yes, the snipers were there in that area. But again, if you've played any video game, it's not easy sniping people right off the bat. Sometimes you might take a shot, but if you take a shot, you're going to alert that person that you know where they are. So you got to make sure it's 100% kill. You have to make sure. So if the guy is going like this and he's peeking his head up and then down, that's not evidence. That's just some guy looking. But if you see him go like this, you know he is going to take a shot. But that still doesn't allow you to fire first because you don't have a good bead on him. So you have to wait till he goes up to take a shot. Bam, 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 boom. He's done. That's how fast it happened. You can't argue with me that it took 6 seconds, 10 seconds to take him out. It was fast. You can argue that if someone puts up their head and down to look, that's not enough time for a sniper to take you out. But the second time you can, or the third time. So you got to remember, it takes the guy a second as well to find his target. And if we assume that he's just lying there on a flat roof, and I'm saying it wasn't flat, he's hiding, he's crouching. Again, if that's his intent, we don't know. You can assume that there was a rifle, that it was a shot. But if it's something else, if somebody else took a shot and nicked him in the ear, and you wanted to blame it on somebody on the roof, man, that leaves the door wide open with conspiracies. What I would like to see is footage where you can actually see the guy getting up or climbing on. Because if you say 30 minutes that people knew, there should be 30 minutes of footage somewhere of somebody suspicious walking around. And then obviously they found explosives in his car and whatever. They just build it right away and say, okay, this is what happened. I'm saying, what happens if it's not what we say it is? What happens? Because there's lots of people saying this is fake. I don't think it was fake. Fake blood, fake this, fake that. No, I don't think it's fake. But I want to see those people died. And I think this has to be a thorough investigation on every single angle. Every single angle. If it's the shooter, show footage that he has the gun. Because if you're not showing the footage of the gun, you're not doing anyone any justice. Because all you're showing is a person, and you're blurring the screen because we don't see the rifle. And you don't see the rifle, so you're trying to build something up. If you see the rifle, I'm fine with that. I'm like, okay, makes sense. This guy's there, and whatever they're saying before, dynamite, whatever's in the car, all this kind of stuff, fine. Families isolating everybody, like it fits everything that they're saying. Isolation, all this stuff. However, if there's no gun before the cops get there, if we don't see any video footage of the rifle in the guy's hand, especially if you see some of the drone footage afterwards or helicopter footage, you see them blur the guy, and I'm like, fine, okay, you want to protect his identification for some reason. You want to blur it. There's no rifle there on the roof. So did they take the rifle off the roof, saying we gotta handle this gun and we gotta touch it and all kinds of stuff and add ammo to it, take it away or whatever? Or do you lock off that whole area, instantaneously preserving the investigation by taking pictures? I used to think you take pictures of the rifle where it was in his hand after he got shot. Are you saying he threw his gun away after he got shot? Those are questions, because if you're saying he shot Donald Trump and he got killed instantly, that gun should be right there, and there should be photos right away coming out. I don't want to see photos of the gun in the officer's hand. That doesn't help. I want to see an untampered scene. I've always said that, like, lock the place down. Nobody leaves. Sorry, we just had a murder here. Nobody leaves. They let everybody go. Everybody. It would have been easy. Everybody sits down. I want all cameras. All cameras. And you just grab them all of them. I don't care if it costs people thousands of dollars because of their fancy phone. All phones are confiscated by both the Republicans and Democrats. Whoever's in charge, somebody that's unbiased. Because if you have the cops, they're going to delete footage that they don't want you to see. It's hard to trust people in this environment. Like, why didn't they lock everything down? Are they afraid that there was another shooter? Is that why they let everyone go? This is a major crime scene. You can't tell me all the reporters that were around with their extra B-roll, you can't tell me that they don't have footage, live footage of everything going on? Yeah, I'm telling you, there's thousands of cameras there rolling from every different angle, and the police didn't lock any of that stuff down. I would have just had a big bin beside me, and I'm like, sorry guys, if you want to go home, drop your cell phones. We'll get it back to you in the morning. Drop all your cell phones because we need to see all the footage. Bing, 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 bing. Done. You're free to go home. Have a nice day. We don't want the footage deleted. They didn't do that. They let everybody go with their footage. And then they had people coming back 30 minutes later saying, "Oh, I saw everything." Really? Why didn't you stick around and mention that? Why did you have to go home and come back? Crazy, right? Yeah, so we're going to get more footage, I'm sure. Let's just go through some of this, some of the conversations here. My coffee's getting cold. Let's see here. I'll leave that up to Jesus. Pablina's here. JT, John, Dominique, Carolyn Beckett, Holly, Sammy. Drones. Yeah, it's interesting. No drones, eh? No drones anywhere. Let's see here. I don't know this guy. I don't know him. I have to do some research on him. Don't know him. It's interesting. Everybody, it seemed like the entire Republican Party, the second they mention a vice president, this guy. So I'll do a little deep dive on him. I'll find him. I think Ohio. Let's see here. Ohio's always been a strong Trump. Yep. Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Republican National Convention yesterday, RNC. I watched it when they were listing off all the delegates for each state. It's kind of boring to watch, but I watched it. And basically how they were like 100% in support, all this kind of stuff. So all 50 states. So it's kind of interesting. So they got over 3,000. I think he only needed like 2,200 or something like that to get a majority. Something like that. But yeah, so definitely everything is running full steam ahead in favor of Donald Trump. So unless something else crazier happens than this, I think you're looking at the next president of the United States. The only thing I keep saying is if Joe Biden declares martial law because he feels it's unsafe for him because of what happened to Trump, that could happen as well. That could happen. So I never saw binoculars. I never saw any either, but they're saying that 30 minutes before that someone saw a guy walking around with binoculars and the officer was asking, is it a binoculars? Was it a rangefinder? I would be like, objection, Your Honor, that's leading the witness. You can't say, was it a rangefinder? You can't say that stuff. Was it a rifle? Oh, yeah, I thought it was binoculars, but now that you say that, yeah, could have been a rifle. Did it have a scope on it? Yeah, now that you say that, yeah, it had a scope on it. Like, you can't do that. You're leading people. So, is it weird that these investigations are horrible at their job? Just watch, what was it called? The Fugitive. Watch that and learn something from The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. You watch that movie once, you're going to understand how to lock down an area. As I forget what Tommy Lee Jones's character's name was, but basically, he's like, everybody place down, lock it all down everywhere, like within 5 miles or whatever. This, and they're like, do you know how much resources that's going to take? Do it. I want everybody. He can't be far. Can't be far. So why didn't they lock down all the footage? News crews, you're not allowed to go. Leave your cameras. Sorry. People with cell phones, leave your cell phones in the dumpster. Sorry, you'll get it back within 72 hours. All footage. You want to be comfortable with the idea of filming an event like this? Feel comfortable with the idea that we're confiscating your camera because it is now classified as evidence. How wrong is that? Well, it's my right. Well, you seem to have a problem with wanting snipers to shoot people quicker. This is how you fix it. This is how you fix it. You grab angles from every single camera, and then you can build a story of what happened. Then you can issue blame. Then you can say, Trump didn't have enough people around, or you could say it's an inside job, blah, 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 blah. But now you can't because you let everyone go and you let all the cameras go and you foster this conspiracy stuff. You do it to yourself. Would have been so easy. So easy. Crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I see people yelling. Yeah, like you gotta think about it from the authorities' perspective. Just because you're yelling at an officer doesn't mean they have to come over to where you are. And yelling at snipers on a rooftop and pointing and gesturing doesn't help them either, especially if the guy that was doing the shooting doesn't have a headset on. He has no idea what you're talking about and you're distracting him. So yeah, you could say they did the right thing by telling police and all this kind of stuff. I don't think there was anything else you could really do. It's because they have a standing operation procedure, an SOP, to do things a certain way. Unless you change that manual, it's not going to change. Meaning, if you have people coming up to the police saying there's a suspicious person in the yard and there's 50,000 people or 30,000 people around, that's not enough evidence to make the officer leave his position and risk other people's lives. That's not enough just to say there's suspicion. Because again, everybody's suspicious these days. Everybody. So that's not good enough. You can't just say that. I don't know what else you could do besides have somebody on the roof looking there. Maybe you could have had somebody actually on that roof, but maybe it was too far out of their jurisdiction. They had 4 snipers. It's kind of interesting that they're kind of facing in that same direction. That part's kind of weird. You would think they would almost be facing this way, kind of thing. Going like this, maybe. 2 snipers going southwest, northwest, and then northeast, southeast. So it covers those 4 angles. And then you have a police officer maybe on a roof with binoculars and any roofs go close by. Just have a few people there. That wouldn't be hard to do. It's what's amazing is nobody knows the distance. It was 400 yards. It was 100 yards. It was 100 feet. It was 180 feet. It's 200 feet. It's 600 feet. Apparently, nobody can count. Nobody knows how to count. It's like, what is it? Everybody's reporting different measurements. It feels like it's closer than what they were saying. I don't think it was 400 yards. I don't think. It feels like 100 would be reasonable. Maybe a little bit more than that. Because again, there are some angles where they show the roof of where the shooter is, and there's some angles that show where Trump was speaking. And you could hear Trump doing his thing. And I'm telling you, from that distance there, he doesn't have much of a shot when there's people in the way. Like, he's either very, very good or he got lucky. Something. Like there's probably one other scenario that I'm not looking at. Because don't forget, I think 3 or 4 people got shot. Because it seemed like there was 2 on. So if you have the stage here and we're looking towards the crowd, pretend I'm Trump. There's a stage here on my left, your right. This is backwards. I'm horrible with directions. And then you have another stage on Trump's right, and they're both angled like this. Meaning, you hit somebody on this tip as you're trying to shoot at Trump, you're going to hit a couple people here. And if you miss Trump, you're going to hit a couple people here. That's what happened. We have people here that drop, a couple of people that are either injured or dead. And then you have a couple of people on this side that are either injured or dead. That's what happened. Because you see footage from people on this side calling for officers and police and everything to help these people. And then you also see the same thing here on both bleachers. So that tells me when the guy fired 4 shots, he hit 4 people. And the shot that went past his ear or clipped him in the ear probably hit another person. 4 people shot, 4 shots fired. That's what I counted. 2 people on one side of Trump, 2 people on the other side of Trump. He was lucky that he didn't get hit. That's what I see just off the surface level. 4 shots, 4 people. Looks like 2 people killed, 2 people severely injured. I could be wrong. Feel free to message me if you're thinking, no, only one person shot, dead, 2 people injured. I think it's 4. 4 shots fired, 4 people injured. Why on earth they didn't collect all the footage is crazy. Yeah, like the video. Yeah, why not? If you're watching, there's 28 people right now. I should have like 28 likes. Like I'm dropping down some good stuff here. Like this is stuff that people aren't trying to analyze. They're just jumping on board on both sides. And I'm like, look, I like Trump just as much as anyone else. I have all his books. I've read them all. You might be like, oh, how could you read his book in the 80s and 90s? How could you do it? Didn't you know that he was going to be the president of the United States? Didn't you know? Who cares? Why do you care what's in my library? Why do you care? It's kind of a weird thing to see. I've had friends over where sometimes I'll show them my office and I know that they don't like Trump. I'll be like this. How you doing? Yeah, this is my office here, and I won't show them because right away they'll go on. Do you know what he's done? He is guilty. January 6th, guilty. So I'm like, okay, I know what topic we're not talking about tonight, and that is Trump. Because some people will lose their mind. And if you say something about Trudeau, they're like, but that Trump, he is evil. And we're Canadians, and yet you ask them, okay, well, has Trudeau done us any favors? Silence. Silence. That's your answer right there. That's your answer. So don't be hypocritical when it comes to this. Most of America loved Donald Trump during the Celebrity Apprentice. Why do you think he called it Celebrity Apprentice? Because celebrities wanted to be apprenticed by Donald Trump. Why do you think he was the main show in Vegas for so many years? Atlantic City. Everybody wanted a piece of the Donald. You can't deny that. Donald Trump helped rebuild New York, put a lot of things on the map in New York. You can't deny that. You can't erase that from history. So what changed? The only thing that changed was he became president. That's the only thing that changed. And all of a sudden, people now, celebrities like Robert De Niro coming out of the works, like, man, like some of your movies aren't very good, Mr. De Niro. I'm just telling you, you're like an actor, but all of a sudden you're an expert now in politics. It's weird. Just because you're an actor, I don't care. Yeah, he had one good movie, he had other bad movies, whatever. You're not going to try and convince me. People are weird. I'm telling you. Hypocritical. They judge you by the book that you read, which is funny, right? I read a lot of books. I collect books as well. So yeah, so the idea that there was more time, I feel is a little bit conspiracy-ish to blame the Republican Party, to blame the city of, where is it at again? It's not Milwaukee. Oh, Butler, Pennsylvania. Never been there. Lots of crazy things. Like one thing we never talked about was the concept of tunnels that Butler has. Secret tunnels. Nobody talks about this stuff. This is why you come to this channel. What if, perchance, there was a way to get in with tunnels? Now, if you don't know history in the United States, they had tunnels built for coal mining under the ground. They would have little tiny railway cars to ship coal back and forth. Then they would have miners that would go underground and do all kinds of stuff. And they also had railway tunnels for slavery to get people out of some of these homes. People would go into a home, go into the cellar, and that would lead to a tunnel. And many slaves were able to escape, not only in Pennsylvania, but in other towns as well. It's known, this is a known fact, that there are actually tunnels in mansions. So people would have a place to hide African slaves. This is historical. So there were many coal mines that were under the ground, and people built tunnels, whether to save themselves, save loved ones in case they got burglarized, whatever it is, but mostly used for coal mining, and then also for the Underground Railroad as well. We haven't really talked about that as the idea of perhaps, and I think this is leaning really conspiracy, just so you know. I feel weird saying it, but what if this guy came out of one of the tunnels and was able to sneak into the grounds quickly? Can we confirm that there's no tunnels, no bunkers, anything around that neighborhood? Can we confirm that, or is that crazy talk? So again, why was there not any drones? That's kind of weird, especially if you don't like it to interfere with the cameras and all this kind of stuff around the rally. Put a few drones around, and again, I don't think that would have stopped anything. I don't think so. Again, probably the simplest thing would to have, even if you had a citizen on that rooftop just sitting there. Hey, we know you're not on our payroll, but could you sit here for a second? That would stop somebody from trying to go up on that place to do that. Go up on the rooftop. That would stop them, prevent them. You could even, if you don't like that, put a camera up there. Whoa, that's difficult. How hard is that to put a camera on the roof that films 360 degrees? If you don't know where to get one of those cameras, go to Kim Kardashian's closet. She has a 360-degree camera that you could actually use your little mouse, and you could actually follow her 360 degrees while she's going through her shoe closet. That's a novel idea. Why don't we put cameras everywhere? I don't know, Shane. That's kind of a weird concept to have cameras. Well, if we're able to shoot astronauts on the moon in 1969, even though 99% of our cables go through submarine cables, they don't go through satellites. Why can't we have cameras on every rooftop? Well, Shane, that would cost about $30 per camera. That would put us over the budget. Okay, so you don't want any security on any of these roofs. You don't want pedestrians that you can give them a little fake Dollarama badge that says, I am the sheriff in this town, or I'm the captain. Can't do that. That's wrong. What about a little camera so you can record things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Cameras aren't expensive. You get one for like $50, man. I'll even donate a camera for you. Simple. We solved it. Just put more cameras from every possible angle. Then put sensors on them. Motion activated. Oh, somebody's on the roof. Has he got a gun? Yeah, take him out. Or handcuff him. Whatever. Done. Take shots at him. Give him warning. Make him put his hands up. Whatever. No, can't do that stuff because this is too complicated. What you're doing, Shane, is you're racking my brain. You're telling me to go to some hardware store or some video store and grab a little camera and screw it into the top of a roof and record during the event for 2 hours or whatever. That's now you're pushing the limits of my brain, Shane. That's not how we think. Okay. All right. Well, you get what you get, I guess, right? You get all these conspiracies because people like me live for this kind of stuff. We're like, what about this? What about this angle? What about this? You just have cameras on every single angle? Done. I'll be like sad. I'll be like, there's no more conspiracy videos. I can't talk about this because they got every angle covered. They even put snipers on empty rooms. I can't talk about it now. Crazy, right? I'm telling you, man, this is good coffee. Are you guys having fun today? Moose Jaw tunnels, yeah, no, that's actually interesting as well with Al Capone. Legend has it that he would bring moonshine to Moose Jaw. Thanks, Aban, for bringing that up. I had a friend actually that lived in Moose Jaw, was going to spearhead the idea of doing tourism there. And then there was a little bit of disagreement. He left, but they ended up doing tourism there. So you could actually go and see some of the tunnels. Anyways. Yeah, so let's see here. What else? Anything else? Coal mines in North Dakota. Very dangerous. Yep. Anybody hear about the idea of tunnels in people's homes, mansions in Pennsylvania? Anybody from Pennsylvania on this live stream? So yeah, so what did we figure out today? A couple of questions. Why weren't there cameras everywhere? If budgeting was tight, if you're worried about security. Even this might be kind of weird. Might be stretching this a little bit. How about buying a little tripod for your little cell phone camera and parking it next to the roof, and then you could just watch the feed somewhere else? Would that be too hard? They should hire me for security. I'll tell you what, on my watch, nothing's going down because you have a conspiracy guy. I will check everything. I'll be like, hey, is there a blanket on the ground? Is there a tunnel under that blanket? Remove it. Let's see. No tunnel. Okay, get rid of the blankets. No blankets anywhere. You got backpacks in the shape of bowling balls? Come on in. That looks fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Have x-ray machines like Jerry Seinfeld talked about security at airports now. That looks like it's kind of in the shape of a gun, but most likely a hair blower that could go through. Bowling ball looks like maybe a bomb or something. That's fine. Oh, but look, we got these little 2-ounce perfume. That's dangerous. I've had that confiscated from me when I was in Vegas. I just bought some cologne, some Fahrenheit cologne, expensive stuff. Get to the airport. It's in the box. And they're like, ooh, this is dangerous. And you can see the other people that are going to take my cologne. They're foaming at the mouth. I'm like, why are you guys foaming? Well, we're going out on a date tonight, and that Fahrenheit would go good on us. Well, why don't I just give it to you? There's my gift from Canada. Just take it. I know you guys are in the back putting deodorant and cologne and everything all over you because there's no way that it's in a package that it's not safe. Guys are silly. You're being silly now. But yeah, they go to the extreme. And the one interesting thing is the reason why I talk about this as a Black Swan event is because the world will be changed. Just give it a little time. Just give it a little bit of time. They're not going to operate the same way. They know the game now. They know that somebody is trying to take Trump's life. You think that the next time he goes to speak out in the open place, that they're not going to have security that's going to be insane? And there might be a few innocent people that get charged accidentally or shot accidentally. Why? Because it makes them look good. So I'd be nervous about going to a rally because it's like, don't bring any backpacks. Don't bring any binoculars or rangefinders because that could be a target. You don't know. Because you think snipers aren't going to be paying attention to people walking in with binoculars, especially at a distance of 100 yards, going, oh, I just want to see the Trump route. They get shot. They would be classified as heroes. Put a gun on that person, say they had a rangefinder and a gun, we took them out right away. And we're not going to name them for the protection of the safety of everyone. Meanwhile, they took out an innocent person. But it looks good on the news. It'll look good. So don't think the world isn't changed. We just can't see it just yet. But there's going to be new rules, new regulations for that kind of stuff. You want drones? You got drones. You want dogs everywhere? You're going to have dogs everywhere as well. You're going to be thinking you're going into a prison camp the next time you see a rally. And that's what Donald Trump avoided. He didn't want it to look like that people were trying to kill him. But now that it happened, somebody tried to take him out. Security is most likely going to go through the roof. And I would expect a couple of casualties because you have to justify the expense. If your defense budget is going up, you have to justify it. What better way to justify it than to take a couple of people out at a rally, hide their identity, and now you get your budget for next year as well taken care of. Why? Because you took out some people that were suspicious, because that's what people wanted you to do. They don't want you to arrest or wait till somebody's proven guilty. They want you to shoot people before. So this is what you're going to get later, is people, innocent bystanders, could be a victim of the next rally. So when that happens, come back to this channel and say, oh, Black Swan was right. They amped up all the security. Somebody got hurt accidentally. It's inevitable. Somebody's going to get hurt because they're not going to understand the rules. They're going to think it's okay to bring binoculars or walking sticks with cameras on the end of them that looks like a rifle from a distance or whatever it is. Telling you, they're going to be on high alert. They need somebody. They need a guinea pig in the future to make themselves look good, to prove that they can take people out early. Crazy, right? This crazy talk. Let's see. Watch Taxi Driver when De Niro role was taken from Arthur Brennan. He was the guy who shot George Wallace. Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, and I heard, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix stole some of his ideas from Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. Same kind of a feel. Maybe the director even. So I was just watching a little bit of Batman with Tim Burton, the original Batman, with Michael Keaton. There's one scene where the Joker just finished killing Grissom. And then the next day, he's in a boardroom with all the mafia guys. And he's like, as effective now until Grissom shows himself, I am the acting president of this company. And they're like, well, what's with the stupid grin? And where is Grissom? Like, well, Grissom's, he's away, basically, and gets up and ends up shaking hands with Rotoli. Forget the guy's name. It's like, if you don't agree with me, we could just part as friends. Yeah. Shake hands, hot time in the town tonight, kills him, and then goes up to him and basically he asks him a question. He says, so, your guys are pretty good guys. They're pretty good men. Do you think we should give them a few days? No? Grease them now? Oh, wow. You are heartless. And I'm glad you're dead. Basically grabs his little necktie. I'm glad he's dead. That's why I came up with the idea for this title. Are you glad he's dead? Are you glad the shooter's dead? Because some people are like, well, I don't know if I can condone violence and all this stuff. Well, do you condone justice? That's the bigger question. Because if the guy was the shooter, yes, you had to take him out. If not, there's some more questions, because that means the shooter got away. If it's not him, if he doesn't have a gun, maybe he is a rangefinder. That would make more sense to me, to have a guy on the roof on his belly saying, okay, now's your chance. Have a guy that, and then that would mean there's another guy to scope it in somewhere. Usually you'd think you'd have two people to make sure that this is taken care of. Because notice the other snipers, they had two. They had one guy with a headset telling him where to look, and then the other guy didn't have a headset on. So he was listening to the guy that was telling him what he's seeing. And then he even popped his head up to see, because I think the shooter put his head down. And then as soon as he popped his head up, he put his head down, or he had his head up. Guy's head went down. As soon as the guy's head down, all of a sudden he fires a shot. He's like, oh, back in there. Bam. Took him out. I think when he lifted his head up, that's because the guy disappeared behind the roof. Because there's no reason for you to lift your head up to see better than the scope, unless you think the guy is moved out from where your scope is to the left or to the right, crawling behind the roof, and you're waiting to see him, because if he pops out over here, you can move your gun this way now. So the only reason why you lift your head up, even with the camera, this is what I would do. If I lose my audience, or if I lose the subject, and he walks off this way, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to look around like, oh, here he is. That's what we do instinctively. We're like, even if you're filming at night, you're filming the moon. Where's the moon? It's like, where is it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah, it's over there. You know, that's how we are. So that's the exact pattern that you see the sniper. He's looking, and he's like, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Bam. Took him out. That's what we do instinctively. You got to get a better shot, because when you're looking through the scope, you only see that. If you lift your head up, you can see peripheral now. You can see both sides. That's what the sniper did. That tells me that he didn't have a good bead on the guy that was behind the shooter, or the shooter, I should say, that was behind the rooftop. He didn't have a good line of sight for him. So as he popped up his head the second time, his head, the sniper's head is up, fires a shot. Oh, okay, bam, because his gun didn't move. So that tells you that the shooter was probably like this, I would say. Duck down, get a little peek. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. And then bam, he's taken out. That's how fast it happens. Nobody, if you ever played paintball, you go like this real quick. You just have quick look. Huh. That's all you do, real quick. You don't hold your gun up and then pull your head up, because they'll shoot your gun out of your hand. So the idea is to get a quick peek. Boom. There's no way a sniper can get a beat on you. That's why the sniper's head popped his head up. He's like, where'd he go? Oh, he's back up. Bam. After he fired 4 shots. Because that's how much time it took to get a lock on that guy, and to make sure there was a 100% kill. And quite possibly, it sounded like there was 8 shots. So I think he took 4. And I think the other guy took 4 as well. At the same time. Pretty close to each other. As soon as he's firing, bam, 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 you're firing. That's what I think happened. It's my guess. What do I know? I'm not a detective. It's my first day at the job. I'm not a detective. I would have had that place secure. Cameras everywhere, drones flying by, just to make people a little nervous, knowing that they're being watched. Have a few civilians, undercover civilians, that are cops. I guess that's undercover civilian is a cop. Put them around, keeping eyes on ears. Where's all these secret agents? You know, where's James Bond and all these people that are looking around? Have a few cops in the crowd. Have a few cops outside the perimeter posing as people. How about that? Man, I'm just solving this left, right, and center. They will never have an assassination attempt again on my watch. Because all you have to do is spend 10 minutes on a live stream to figure out how to secure the area without quadrupling all the security forces. If you think there's bombs in cars, everybody that shows up at the rally, just pop your trunk open. No? Okay. Remove your car from the facility. Go away. You okay with popping your trunk? Nothing to hide? This guy's just going to be standing here by your door while I check your trunk. Can you pop up your trunk? Just do it randomly. Just put a big sign saying there will be random searches for trunks throughout the event. Done. There will be random searches through your bag throughout the event. Done. Man, I solved it from just about every angle that you could think of. How about dogs roaming around the parking lot? Put cats up in trees with cameras. I don't know. Be creative. Put traps. Oh, we didn't even think about traps on roofs. How about mouse traps? How about bear traps? How about barbed wire around all the roofs outside? Just put those little coils, they have at prison camps. Just put them around every rooftop. The ones that you think are major. Solved. What did I solve here? Barbed wire, dog sniffers, dog sniffing, doggies, German shepherds that sniff bombs, random car searches, undercover civilians in the crowd around all these places, cameras locked off on the rooftop. Like I mentioned, barbed wire, drones floating around, flying around every once in a while. Make the roof slippery, make the roof like tar. So a person goes on there and he sticks. It's like, oh, crap, I'm stuck in this glue, whatever this is. I don't know, just watch Home Alone once. They'll take care of that. They'll never touch the president again. I don't know. Let me just check my email. I don't know if I'm invited. Let me check my email. Let's see if I'm invited. Let's see. I think the idea is to alternate every once in a while. This is hot off the presses. No, I don't think Greg has invited me for tonight to be on the panel. See, what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep it small instead of having a whole bunch of guys, because it'll get out of control if you have like 6, 7, 8 guys. This is why I do it. I try and do it 5 max on my channel. That's why I call it Rev 5. It's every Sunday at 3 o'clock. So if you like this kind of thing, this is what we do on Sundays. Feels like we do this every day, but Rev 5 is nice because we have more than just myself. We have 4 other guests, and I'm treating it like the 5. That's where I got the idea from. I watched the 5 on Fox News. Basically, they have a topic, and then they go around the circle, and each person gets to talk. And then the next person introduces another topic, and they go around. That's the idea behind it. So, what have we figured out so far? Let's see. Let me just see. You never know. Greg invited me at the last minute last Tuesday to host. So I basically told him, I said, anytime you need me, just let me know. I'll be available. Make myself available. So again, I think the idea is to keep it small, keep it intimate so that you can have a conversation. Because again, if you have like 8, 9, 10 people, it gets crazy. Everybody wants to talk. All right. Let's see here. People are falling for this narrative. Yep. Let's see here. What else is there? Like to be deceived. Okay, 50,000. 50 miles, Harmony, Pennsylvania, where the event was held. 50,000. From Butler Farm Show, where the event was held. 50,000 approximately. I'm not sure what the question is here, Bremer. So what do we say here? What's 15 miles from the Butler Farm show where the event was held? Harmony. What's Harmony? What's going on in Harmony? I forget. Talk about the Moose Jaw tunnels. Talked about that. Grandpa worked underground coal mines. I saw that. Noah's Ark Amusement Park in Pennsylvania. 1 hour. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I like that. I actually wanted to go there. If you guys are curious, I think I'm going to be in Phoenix on tour, doing the Black Swan tour in Phoenix and sometime in July, I think. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. My wife's not aware of it because we're actually visiting my son-in-law and my daughter. Are actually helping them move. So I thought, hey, maybe I should do a tour. Maybe I'll do a live stream in Phoenix somewhere. Where are they? Oh, what's the name of the place? Scottsdale. How big is Scottsdale? It's not really that big, is it? So that's where I'll be sometime in July, end of July, I think. I'll let you guys know a date. But if there's some people in Phoenix, I would love to meet you guys in person. Wouldn't that be cool? Even just to swap pics or something. And then you could say you took a picture of the Black Swan. I don't know if I'll be able to bring an extra mug. But if anybody wants one of these mugs, I'm not sure what to charge them. You know what I think I'll do? Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to have a contest. How about that? I'm going to have a contest. And the contest will be for 4 mugs. 4 mugs. And we got to come up with a name. And it'll be something like the idea of, if you want a set of Black Swan mugs for free, you have to do something for me. You have to make a video. Let's call it, I'm thinking hashtag Black Swan Swag. Black Swan Swag, hashtag. Make a video if you have a YouTube channel and put $ or hashtag Black Swan Swag. And then in the video, make it like a minute. Don't make it too long. Make it about a minute or so as to why you think I should give you a set of Black Swan mugs. We'll make this a contest, and then I'll announce the winner on one of my live shows. And best video, and what we'll do is we'll show the videos, and then we'll get the audience to judge the videos as well. That way you guys can actually pick the winner of the best videos, best video. And the best video, the people that give it the best or the number of votes, the most number of votes, will get a set of 4 free mugs shipped directly to you. That's the contest. So when is the expiry? What is it? July? Let's give you some time. Let's say September 1st. That'll be the deadline. So I'll make it official. I'll make an official announcement. I'll make a video. Hey, if you guys want to win a set of some Black Swan swag, a set of 4 mugs, because I don't have any shirts yet or anything to give away. All you have to do is enter the contest by making a video. Obviously, you have to be subscribed to this channel. Make a video, and then make it like a minute or so, minute and a half, as to why you want a set of Black Swan Revelation mugs, why you'd like a set. And then we'll turn it into a contest. We'll give you time to do it. And things that I would be looking for is the most creative. Like, I don't want you to do anything harmful to yourself, like no pictures on a freeway or any crazy stuff, but be creative about why you want a mug. And I'll leave that up to you, but be creative. Can't harm anybody, because those videos will be rejected if you harm yourself in any way. We don't want that. But we want you to convince me as to why you want a set of free mugs from Black Swan himself. How's that for a contest? I think that'd be cool. So hashtag Black Swan swag. That way I can find your videos. That's probably the easiest way. Let's see here. Trump's ear had a lot of blood, but no flesh missing. It looked like, I kind of, what I saw kind of looked like he had a bit of a nick there. And you'd be shocked. Like, I've cut myself with a razor. That thing bled like a stuck pig. I'm telling you. Or you scratch a little bit of your nose, just a little tiny bit with the razor. Like, don't ask me why I was shaving my ears. I think sometimes I get little tiny hairs growing on the edge of my ears. So I remember I tried scraping and I'm like, oh, and that thing bled for hours. I thought I would have had to go to what do you call it, Red Cross there to get some more blood, because it was just a little tiny prick, just so tiny, and I was like bleeding forever. I had to keep putting a little Kleenex there. Somebody'd be like, what happened there? Well, I cut myself shaving. Doesn't everybody cut themselves shaving when they're with their ears? All right, so let's see. Matthew 24:24. Matthew 24:24. What are we saying here? There's so many comments on here, sometimes it's hard to follow. People are falling for discernment. Yep. For this narrative, just like they want. So which narrative are we falling for? That it's fake, that it's not fake, that it's staged, that it's planned, that it's not planned? What do you guys feel? Is it planned, not planned? Maybe I'll make that into a little comment, or in the community. I'm going to put a survey. Do you think it was planned? So let me just see if I can do that. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if you can see this here. Hope you guys like this type of live stream. This is interactive at its best. This is just an interesting topic because it just happened a couple of days ago and we're starting to get footage all over the place. All right, my internet is a little bit slow, but I'm going to put it in the community section. So check that out. Maybe I'll put the rules to this video contest as well. And what else? What else is there? Yeah, I'll put some questions like, do you think this was fake, planned, staged? You know, it'd be interesting to get a pulse on my channel what you guys think. At first glance, I did not think this was planned at all. I'm still leaning on the side. If you're looking at planned, not planned, I'm still on the not planned side. I'm on that side. Was it allowed to happen? I don't know. I just feel like there could have been a few extra security measures, and I've listed like a half a dozen of them. I'm sure if I sat down and took my shoes and socks off, I can come up with a dozen or so ways to make that place more secure without adding more security, more personnel. There's tons of ways to do it. Tons of ways. Just put little signs saying if you're under suspect, you will be shot first. You don't have to do it, but you just put a sign saying we take everything seriously. So if it looks like you are trying to get a bubblegum wrapper out of your pocket, just lift your hands up and say, I am slowly taking a bubblegum wrapper out of my pocket. That's how strict we're going to be here. Just let people know that. They'll be nervous. But again, I don't think that's what Donald Trump wanted, because it doesn't. I wouldn't go if I felt like I was going to be shot at, or if there was so much security there, choppers everywhere, SWAT teams. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to watch this from home. Thanks a lot. I don't need the hassle. So I think that's what Trump was trying to avoid. We do know that they do false flags. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. We know in history there's been many false flags, and this could definitely fall under that category if you look at how good snipers are. One of the theories I posed was the idea that, let's just say, for example, you you're the sniper and you know who the guy is on the rooftop and whether he had a gun or not, you basically have someone else lined up to take the shot on the president, maybe another scope somewhere that is really accurate. Like some of these guys, man, they could shoot inside of a quarter. Like that's how good they are, some of these sharpshooters. So imagine coordinating that you take this guy out that has a set of binoculars or whatever he has on the rooftop. You take him out at the same time as somebody fires shots. Because there were some people saying it felt like people were shooting at them. And they didn't realize that they're shooting at somebody behind them because there was a bit of a crossfire. And I'm like, that's kind of confusing. Why would you think that you're being shot at? Because somebody was pointing a gun at them. And I'm not sure if Trump was behind them or not. But these are some of the videos that came out like almost right away. There's one guy, he's in a red shirt. And I forget if he was a paramedic or something, but he said, yeah, like I saw everything. And at first it sounded like it was coming from behind me. And when I turned around, they were shooting back and I thought they were shooting at me, all this stuff. And he's like, I saw one guy, he got shot in the back of the head. And I'm like, this is all kind of weird stuff because when you get shot, it's just a hole here and the back of your head gets opened up. I know it's kind of graphic, right? But if you look at any target, when you shoot a target, could be a pail, could be whatever, the hole is tiny. The entrance wound is tiny. The exit is bigger, always. So if you're looking at someone and you say they got shot in the back of the head, you're not going to see the shot go in from the back of the person's head because they got hair and everything. You're not going to see it until maybe a few seconds later. But if you're shooting someone from the front, the back end would open up. That would cause you to go, oh, that person shot in the back of the head because they don't know how bullets work. Ballistics, if you will. There's more, percussion on the exit of a wound all the time. You always see that. Goes in one side, outside is just a little bit more, unless it's like flesh, I guess. But if it hits something here and goes out, like usually, just go back and watch some of the JFK assassination. The exit wounds were massive. Man, it's just crazy, right? And that's what people said, like his head was totally gone. Gross, right? I haven't watched any footage of it because I get a little squeamish when I look at stuff like that. I don't like to see that. So instead, I'll look for wide angles and all this stuff to see what's going on. But let's see here. What's going on here? Yeah, I feel better. Do I sound better? Thank you for that, brother. I feel better. I feel better today. Went down a little bit into my chest, but I feel okay. So let's see here. What do we got going on here? We saw 3 different people who supposedly made the shot, and they've stuck on this 20-year-old from the BlackRock commercial of all things. Yeah, I didn't see that. He was in a commercial. That would be very crazy conspiracy if he was in a BlackRock commercial, because I've always thought that they could pin it on people that they don't like. I always thought that they could do that. All right, let's see. More distractions. Receptions coming, no doubt, despite everything going on. Yeah, for sure. It'll wrap up. I just don't think it'll be the same way as what we saw. It'll be something different. And I expect after this Republican conference is over, there's going to be a few changes now that Donald Trump knows the rules of the game, that it's okay to take out people that are against you. I think he's going to be changing the rules of how they do stuff. Not saying that they're going to take out people, but don't think for a second that Trump isn't writing all this stuff down, going, who's my friend, who's on the naughty list, and who isn't on the naughty list. Don't think that he's not doing that. I would. I'd be like, I can't trust this guy. I can trust this guy. I can't trust this guy. And it fits with, what do you call it? Is it Project 2025? I'm probably going to read it just to help put myself to sleep at night. I'm probably going to read the report. It's 900 pages long. Might take me a little while to read, but the idea behind it is within the first 180 days that whoever is the president, it's written from like a conservative side of things. So let's just say Trump is in power. The idea is to replace people in power with people that they have personally trained, meaning they're going to understand what the 900-page document is all about, and they're going to run the show. So imagine 50,000 people being replaced, like governments top down. That's what they're going to do. They're going to drop abortion. That's going to disappear. So there's some good things, but one thing, and I have to look this up, I don't see anything about protection of the church in it, which is kind of interesting. So I'll have to look it up. I'll do some homework on that. I'll read it up, but this is a big deal. Starting January 1st, Project 2025 is going to kick in, especially if there's a Republican Party in power. If Trump, if not Trump, someone else, if his son in the future, if Barron decides to run as the youngest president, don't know. But for sure, Project 2025 will happen if a Republican gets in. Now, if you don't have time to read all 900 documents, you can just watch various videos on what it means, what it entails, all this kind of stuff, and you get a little bit of a concept that it is more conservative heavy, that they want to change how the rules are played. So think about it this way. If you are against Trump right now, most January 1st. So if you're like, I don't like Trump, I don't like anything, I think he should have been taken out or whatever, I wouldn't be talking that way come January 1st, because all they have to do is scrub some of your videos from the past, how you treated him, how you talked about him, especially celebrities. You could be jailed, you could be fined, you could be sentenced. All this kind of stuff could happen overnight. Don't think it couldn't happen, especially if you get a majority government that people are so bent on doing whatever Trump says or asks. You could get caught up in a frenzy of looking at your neighbors and going, they are a Democrat, therefore I have to turn them in. Don't know, but I've seen people do weird things. I've seen them. They turn on each other. As soon as you can get an advantage on someone, they turn. Overnight, they turn. So this is one of my fears, is when Donald Trump becomes president for a second time, it's not going to be the same guy. This is my fear. This is my gut feeling. Why? Because he's been so abused for the past 4 years or so. He's been abused by the media, by everyone else. Don't think he isn't going to take that under control. President Zelensky did that. The second he took power, he dissolved the government, made a snap election within 30 days. Dissolved political parties that were leaning towards Russia, dissolved them all. So he's the only party in existence in Ukraine. They're under martial law from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I told you probably like a year before that he was not going to release martial law for the election, and he never did. He kept it. They're still under martial law, so they never had any elections. So he's still the prime minister. There's no way to vote him out of that position if there's martial law. So if martial law happens in the United States, there will be no election. That's how it works. That's how martial law works, because it's too dangerous to have people voting. So instead, you just suspend it. And all you have to do is just say, hey, we're not having it November 5th. We're having it December 5th. We're just postponing it for 30 days. And everybody's like, oh, okay. That makes sense to me. And then you just keep doing it, because my understanding is you have to renew it every 90 days, martial law. So you have to approve it every 90 days in Ukraine. And I've said from before, like right from the beginning, that I think Ukraine is going to come out on top as one of these superpowers. They already invest more than any other country in artificial intelligence, computers, drones, you name it, they're ranked at the top. They are above China. They're above the US, arguably above Israel. So you can rank Israel. I would say it'd be Ukraine, Israel, US, or you could say Ukraine, US, Israel, and then China, and then UK, and then everyone else after that. That's kind of the ranking of people that are investing in drones. Or sorry, in artificial intelligence. That's the ranking. Like they're spending a lot of do, re, mi, fa, so money on artificial intelligence. So yeah, lots going on. Lots going on. Oh yeah, so I didn't even think about that. After Netanyahu visits the US next week, things could get crazier. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's something to watch. You don't think there's going to be top-notch security for the prime minister of Israel? This might dampen his plans to come to the US because of this assassination attempt on Trump. Because if Netanyahu comes to the US, you don't think his people are telling him this is a secure risk? Imagine if he got assassinated. World War III, I'm sorry, but overnight, World War III. If the prime minister of Israel got assassinated on US soil, there would be World War III like you wouldn't imagine on every level. Like it would be horrible. So I think that's too much of a risk to have someone like that in the United States. My humble opinion. It's too dangerous. There's too many ramifications you can't even predict if something were to happen. Even if he got nicked like Trump, can you imagine if the prime minister of Israel got nicked even in Israel? Can you imagine what would happen? I'm telling you. The world's changed. You just can't see it right now. We experienced the Black Swan event and we're not out of it yet. But it's changed because there's three criteria for Black Swan event. Obviously, it has to be unpredictable or highly improbable that you don't see coming. Most of us didn't see it coming because how many rallies did we have? You could say, oh, yeah, I saw it coming. I saw it coming. Whatever. The majority did not. You might have thought it once in a while, but you didn't expect that somebody would have the kahunas to wound. You could say, yeah, I thought he would be killed. That's fair. But did you see the idea that he would be wounded? I think there was somebody online that actually predicted that he would get wounded, which is crazy accurate. Crazy accurate. And he's talking about some of the ramifications of that. But yeah, don't think that the world hasn't changed. So the second criteria is the world has to be different the next day. Has to be different. This has to affect the whole world. And I think this has affected the whole world. We don't see it yet because they're planning. They're planning it and they're going to roll the stuff out in weeks to come. I'm telling you. And then the third thing is afterwards we'll be able to explain it away. Yeah, we should have saw this coming, not tight security, all this kind of stuff. It will change. Has no choice but to change. I'd be surprised if Netanyahu comes to the U.S. I'd be surprised. On Monday, speech to Congress, if I was a bad guy, and this is why you come to this channel, but like if you put a hit on the prime minister, you can blame it on the Republicans, even though that sounds weird because they're so for Israel. But imagine on Biden's watch, the prime minister getting assassinated, threatened, whatever it is. I don't know. I would be shocked. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the security risk is too high. I think what would be easier is to have Biden go to Israel. I think that would be safer for him. I think this is too hot, too much volatility to have Netanyahu in the States so close. Like, we're talking within a week of Donald Trump being assassinated. That doesn't feel good right now. I'm telling you, that doesn't feel good. I would suggest, if I was Prime Minister Netanyahu's advisors, I would say there's no way we're going to the States. Sorry, I don't care if it makes us look like we're afraid of an assassination. This is high risk. Or you don't announce it. You don't announce that he's coming. Just don't announce it. Have it surprise. But I guess it's hard to protect him. But that's one thing you could do, is do a surprise visit. And nobody knows, and he's just here in the US. Could do that. Yeah, I think people that don't like Israel and all this stuff, they're going to be looking for an excuse to go crazy on Netanyahu. I think it's just, it would be like, I'm telling you, this is not good. I don't think it's a good idea at all. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea to have the Prime Minister of Israel on American soil on Monday? I don't think so. I don't think it's a good idea. Giving a speech to Congress on Wednesday. Well, maybe, like, man, I would watch it. Definitely, I would. I'll be watching it next Wednesday if he's in. So you want to stick around to this channel, because we're going to be covering it. If he does show up, we'll probably watch a little bit of it live on Monday, and then we'll be watching some of it live. I'm going to try anyway. We'll see. But yeah, I would be surprised. I'd be totally surprised if Netanyahu still shows up for the Congress meeting. But it's probably going to be top-notch security. It just feels weird, man. I'm telling you, it feels weird. Because if you think about it, if you go back to 1600s, King James was almost assassinated by Guy Fawkes. He was caught underneath, I think it was a Parliament building or somewhere, where King James was going to speak, and they found a whole bunch of bombs or a whole bunch of dynamite with him. And this is why they celebrate Guy Fawkes Day on November 5th, which is kind of weird, isn't it? So yeah, to have a meeting with the Prime Minister in Congress, in front of Congress, man, that place is just going to be a zoo. Everybody's going to be watching, expecting something to happen that day. That's what I think. Anyways, hope you guys got something out of this. I will see you in another video. And I'll be sure to check out Uptime as well. I'll be hanging around in the crowd. If I'm not on, I'll be in the comment sections as well, just like with you guys watching their show. So stick around. Join Uptime tonight. I think they're on at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. And I will see you guys later. Bye for now.